up, MTV? Welcome to my crib that I rent. This is HowDoWeHuman. This is the podcast where we talk about all of the weird and uncomfortable micro moments in life. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Binning.
I'm one of your hosts, Evan Cox. Check out this rental.
Do you remember Cribs? That show I never watched.
It was such a hit. Everyone loved Cribs, so I dipped into a couple of episodes. It's entertaining enough, but I never quite got. Especially now, it's funny after all this time finding out like a lot of those were fake.
Yeah,
not where those people lived. Just set up these ridiculous studios.
I don't think I have ever watched a full MTV original program.
You've never watched one MTV show?
I don't think so.
Oh my god! I'm gonna have to think.
Because I mean, what was there? Cribs, Pimp My Ride.
Yeah.
Do they have all those like 16
Jersey
and pregnant shows? Oh, sure, Jersey Shore. No, I haven't watched any of those.
The Challenge?
I don't even know what that is.
The Challenge is the real world / road rules meetup where they compete.
Well, all of this proves that I have never...
You haven't watched Ridiculousness?
I have seen clips of Ridiculousness, and I, of course, famously had to deal with Chanel West Coast when I worked at IKEA, because she came in and felt entitled to a display model of a laundry basket. But all of this to say, I've never watched MTV, but we are going to be talking about cribs that are for rent and not baby cribs. I'm of course talking houses and apartments. But before we get to any of that, you want to rent baby cribs? Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah. I was gonna say, why buy? I hear they're expensive. If you can't build one yourself, you should be able to just rent a baby crib. You're not going to need it for that long.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could. I feel like it's
a couple of years, I suppose.
Yeah, I think a big part of it though is like, do I trust getting something for my baby from a stranger on Facebook Marketplace, or
that stranger's
a rental situation? Well, I would really not trust it coming from you as someone who does not have children. Why does he have this crib?
I'm making the best cribs.
What is? I mean, I guess and we'll get to the actual episode here in just a couple more minutes, everyone. But how many cribs do you think are haunted? Do you think a crib could be haunted?
We're talking baby cribs, or
talking baby cribs? Of course, MTV should have spun off cribs into haunted cribs for that show. But I am talking about baby cribs.
All right. How many are haunted? Yeah.
Do you think it's even possible for a spooky force to enter a baby crib and possess it?
Yeah. I think it's very, very likely.
Well, then there's your answer as to why people don't rent them. Evan?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Oh, living the dream.
Oh, that's white people speak for kill me.
Yeah. I was going to say, that is the thing we say instead of just saying, not great. But I do have something delightful I wanted to share. I was at my least favorite place, the grocery store. Specifically, because now we have multiple. I was at Stater Brothers. I'm walking around this thing. You know, these grocery stores, they always got the music playing. They got to make the people happy. Listen to some jams. And on this particular day, some song was playing. And then it switched to the next song. Creedence Clearwater Revival's Down on the Corner. Dun, 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 dun,
Sure.
dun, 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 dun. I start walking. Like a lot of grocery stores, there's like shelves of food and then a hallway. That's where the bathrooms are. So I'm approaching this bathroom. It's hard to explain
To
without like
use it or to you said you were shopping and then the song came on.
yes, I was
So
not
are you
using the restroom. I'm walking
okay?
past this hallway, and along the wall that would be to my back, but I saw him out of the corner of my eye, was a young man. This was a maybe 14-year-old boy with one of those hats with ear flaps going down the side, and he's
Interesting.
just going just full on like big dancing to Down on the Corner, and a bit of like, that makes me very happy for some reason. And then I keep walking. There's a little boy, like maybe 9 or 10 years old, also fucking dancing to Down on the Corner. And I realized, like, hey, I think this song breaks through generations and
Nature
just
is healing,
is a
as they
bop.
say.
That's kind of all. It just made
Did
me
you know
happy.
that bop
Mm.
is transitioning
Oh.
from being about a song to being about a person that you can sleep with?
Like all good slang.
Yeah,
That's
it's
fascinating.
you know, I sorry, I went to Google bop, and of course the first thing that comes up, as you can imagine, is
Mm.
the Federal Bureau of Prisons. But let me let's see. The bop is transitioning into being not just a song that is really good, but also to well, I was going to say it was transitioning, but some of these
Mm.
entries on urbandictionary.com are 20 years old. So now I don't know what to believe.
Holy shit. We've been saying bop that long?
Yeah.
This is a problem. Okay. Well, listen, I'm not up on the slang. It is not a bop in that sense. I don't
Sure.
think Down on the Corner is someone I'm sleeping with.
Hey,
Is
down on
that?
the corner is where you could pick up a bop. Am I
That's
right?
true. That's true.
Welcome to
It's
racist comedian podcast.
and that's a
We're gonna
bop
do
about
one of those
bops.
podcasts. I know that we need to talk about whatever
Apartment
this topic
tours.
is, apartment tours, but you've been seeing, I get these little clips from some broy podcast that's like, hey, well, my friend here is gonna blind rank attractive women, and we'll see what he thinks. Does he think that all five of
Cool.
these attractive women are attractive? Stay tuned to find out.
Hey, keep watching.
Keep watching, and everybody does.
They do. Chris,
Yeah.
I gotta know if you're still watching. Not that, but your experiences in life. If you're keeping an eye on how you're doing.
I am. I'm doing okay. I have an exciting topic to discuss. It's one of our favorites. We've mentioned it maybe every time we've recorded for the last month. I want to talk a little bit about the regional sandwich chain Togo's. I mentioned at work there was a period of time where I was getting Togo's multiple times a week. I've slowed down a little bit, but I miss it because I felt like I was the only one keeping that
Yeah.
business afloat. Now all of a sudden, some of my supervisors have been getting Togos, and they're like, "Oh no, because I'll call them out on it, be like, oh, so I guess I started a little love for
Yeah.
Togos," and they're like, no, I've always loved Togos.
Hmm.
And I'm always like, well, I never see you in there, and they're like, I've never seen you in there. I feel like I'm the only one keeping this business afloat. Hey,
Gaslighting.
wait a second. That's my line. You guys have just gotten on the Togo's bandwagon.
Yeah.
This company that's been in business for decades?
Mm-hmm.
No. I'm the first one to discover and like it.
Yeah.
Since I went there 5 months ago. So I guess what I'm saying is, they not like us.
Mm.
You know,
Togo people.
mustard on the beat, more like mustard on the bread.
Not my bread.
Is this the worst this podcast has ever been?
Yes. And I hope you're loving it. That's fantastic. I don't know. We're Togo people for life. And if you want to come join the Togo gang, you're welcome. We would love to have you. But if you want to
Yes.
try to take our Togo cred, we're not hearing it.
Yeah.
We are the first two people to go to Togo.
You can get on the bandwagon, but you have to acknowledge and respect that we're driving the bus. Okay.
Yeah. You could call us, I don't know, gatekeepers.
Yeah.
It's a friendly name.
Oh, you love Togo so much? Name 10 sandwiches that they sell there.
Do you really like Togos, or do you just like talking about it?
Yeah, you just trying to talk about Togos because you know it'll make you seem cool with us.
Yeah.
No, you guys aren't real Togos fans, okay?
Get the fuck out of here.
the fuck out of here.
I think this is a good attitude. This is the Togo way.
Yeah, should you and I be Togo Mandalorians? This is the Togo way.
Oh, yeah. What could a Togo Mandalorian be? I was just picturing the Mandalorian, but with like a sandwich helmet.
Yeah, instead of Grogu, he has a little sandwich.
Carries a sub. Yeah, that's good.
And Werner Herzog is like, I want to see the sandwich.
I
Not quite his voice. Anyway, let's talk about apartment tours. In these trying times,
have we been saying in these trying times this whole podcast? And it feels like we've been in trying times for 6 years.
Well, we've been in the trying times for longer than that, but we have, I think, been saying it for 6 years.
Yeah.
But in these trying times, post fires, we've gotten our place mostly remediated. We're missing some furniture that should be arriving here in the next week or two. But I feel like maybe we should still move. Even though we've put in all the work to stay here, I'm like, maybe we should just move somewhere. So I've been looking on Zillow and on other rental apps to try and find a new place to live. I'm on there like multiple times a day sometimes.
Just not to interrupt your flow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Zillow is your app and or website of choice.
It is. I know that some people love apartments.com.
Fuck apartments.com.
Apartments.com I find so difficult to navigate.
Are we Southern California people? Are we all over West Side Rentals at this point and all that horse shit?
Yeah, I think West Side Rentals is
gone.
A joke. Like, what are we doing? We don't need a separate thing for this.
Pay money so we can give you the same thing everyone else is giving you.
Yeah.
I've always been a Hot Pads fan. I don't know why, but I pop around these apps and realize they all kind of look the same and work exactly the same way. So I don't know why I have a preference, but I sure do. And it's Hot Pads.
Here's what I like about, I haven't really used Hot Pads. I've mostly just used apartments.com or Zillow. And what I like about Zillow is it shows where each of these little properties are. It just shows a rough, like, rounded up version of what the rent is.
Mm-hmm.
And also when a new one comes up, it says new on it. Apartments.com is just a bunch of like green polygons all over the place that you just kind of have to sift through, and I don't like
Yeah.
that.
Nah.
So that's why I prefer Zillow. But I'm on this app multiple times a day, like a gambling addict. Like if a
Hoping to
new
see something.
apartment that's great shows up, I'm gonna see it first.
Yeah.
But like, and there are all these I was watching Last Week Tonight, and all these people that are on these gambling apps multiple times a day, because they're frequently losing money,
Hmm.
are often given things by these gambling apps to get you to stay, like as an incentive to stay there. So
Yeah.
they'll like send you free stuff. Like, hey, I'm on Zillow multiple times a day. Give me a free house.
Give me a free house.
Give me a
I
free
was gonna say a
house.
hat, but yeah, give a free
Give me a
house.
free house. I'm on here all the time. But there's just, I assume it's true everywhere, but this could be, much like Togo's, a niche problem. Um, so many of these apartments that I'm looking at look like shit. And
I feel like apartments are just looking more like shit as time goes on.
well, yeah, because they don't update them. If
Yeah.
there's some, you'll look at a new listing and be like, I don't think they've updated this in 50 years. This kitchen is still from the 70s.
Yeah.
Or the worst is when it's like, all right, the kitchen hasn't been touched since the 70s. The bathroom hasn't been touched since the 90s. The living room got updated maybe in 2006.
Time traveling
And
room by room.
none of them look like they belong in the same place.
There's a lot of that.
Certain like houses, you can like make every room look different, but it's still like
Cohesive.
feels like it's cohesive. Yeah. And these are just like, no, here's what you get. Bunch
That
of
is
mismatched, outdated stuff for, I don't know, $3,000
$3,000 a month, maybe? I don't know. You tell us. Is that
You tell us.
would you pay more? 35.
Yeah.
35. 42. Fuck it.
What's that? You want to park your car where you live? We're gonna up that price.
5,000 is just a nice clean number. Oh, you want one bedroom? I'm sorry. That'll be 6,000. No, it is an interesting consideration I'm having. Jocelyn she's a Zillow head and is like very into looking at it. Not even, I mean, granted, we are looking at moving back to Washington within the next year or so, a little over a year, under 2 years is kind of the goal right now. But she's just pop on there anytime, even knowing like, yeah, these places aren't going to be available when we're actually looking.
Sure.
She just likes to keep an eye on the neighborhoods and what is out there, and she's got a very specific taste for real quirky places like you're talking about, like old 70s look, shag carpet situation, colorful walls. And I'm like, I'm down for most of that, but it does, for me, it's a fine line when it comes to buildings. Is it being old good?
Right.
Is this an architectural interest? Is this safer for some reason, built with different materials? Or, yeah, asbestos. It's not actually properly foundation situated. I don't know anything about it, but I'm like, old is cool, but is old always better? And she also showed me a place with carpet in the bathroom, and I'm just like, that's a no for me, dog.
That's a no for me, dog. Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there are like different, I like an apartment with character, because so many apartments, like I'm on this app all day long looking through neighborhood after neighborhood, and at a certain point almost every single apartment looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
And so I like when there is like oh, this one has an exposed brick wall, or this one
Something.
has, you know, an interesting kitchen layout, or whatever it is, like something that feels unique. I Even if it's out of budget, I'm like, oh, we should live there because it's
Yeah.
different than everything else I'm looking at.
Yeah, it feels like at some point we've gone from like check out this apartment, check out that apartment to just be like, this is a box that has these amenities. This is a box
Yes.
that has these amenities. What amenities do you need? And that's boring as hell.
Yeah, and it is. There are also on a lot of these listings, it's like, oh, this price that we've listed the unit for isn't quite really the price because it is another $100 if you want to park here, another $100 if, oh, you're moving into a 2 bedroom because there are two of you and you have two cars, we're gonna up that parking price twice. And the reason that we've listed it this way is because if you know, buy now, then you pay this price the first month because it's a discounted rate, but then the other months you're paying a higher amount because of the way we've set up the rebate, so this listed price reflects your savings. No. Tell me what I'm paying.
Yeah.
Don't try and trick me.
Even like we have dogs, and so that always comes up, and it's always an extra
Yeah.
fee for dogs. Like,
It's like two extra fees. Like, we need the pet deposit and we need the pet rent. What are
yeah.
you talking about?
Now we have two
I can
dogs.
understand one of them, but why do we need two different payments for this?
Yeah, that number just it does jump around,
Yeah.
jump around. They really get you when you're a dog owner. They look for any sort of reason to charge extra at all times, and it blows.
Yeah.
I told you this already, and I'm not going to say it again. No, that before we ended up moving out here, when Jocelyn and I were looking for apartments, we looked at a few different neighborhoods sticking in the general LA area, and one we went to was Inglewood, and checked out the neighborhood, and we're like, it's awesome. We ate at a restaurant there. It fucking ruled. I mean, it's I think moderately a chain, but Jerusalem's Chicken. If you've never been, oof, baby, let's go. Um, so we got all hyped up about it, and then because we had a showing at the apartment, so we were there early, going around the neighborhood, and then went to the showing. And the showing just kind of sucked. I mean, I found a dead cockroach, and then I found a living cockroach, which prompted me to write the song "Cockroach." Dead or alive, preferably dead, but alive didn't help. And there was
No.
just like a missing knob on the stove, and I asked about that. Like, oh yeah, we'll replace that. But he didn't sound sure about it.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, it's very small. He says they're taking care of the roach problem. He says they'll replace the knob. We could make this happen. It is very small. And at this point, I'm like, thank God we didn't do that. It
Yeah.
was too small for two people and two dogs to live in. But we got to the point where we're discussing with them taking the place and what it would cost, and they added those numbers up of what those. So it was like maybe $2,000, and again, real small place, but uh so it was 2,000, and then he's like, we need first month's rent, last month's rent, and the second month's rent,
And
and
the
this
security
and that
deposit.
security
Yeah.
deposit. It was like $1,000+ security deposit, pet fees. It came out to like $7,500
Oh my God.
to move into this tiny apartment with cockroaches. It was heartbreaking to just be like, but we spent time in the neighborhood and liked it. We went to Kenneth Hahn Park. It was lovely.
This sounds almost exactly like my recent experience and why I
Okay,
wanted to do this
you're
episode.
up.
Because, post fires, I'm like, I think I think maybe we should leave. I've kind of settled into more of like, maybe we can stay here. We are thinking of moving into like a 2 bedroom sometime in the next year or so.
Make a
Um,
big difference.
but I was like, let's just move now because most of our city burned down.
Yeah.
um,
Might be easier.
but my wife is like, no, let's stay here. We did all the work to make it livable again. And we can save more money in the next year before we move into a 2 bedroom in the future.
Yeah.
Also, as with most industries and most places around the country, there's a little bit of uncertainty as to what our jobs are going to be like in a year or
Yeah.
so. So we don't want to necessarily get into a place where we're paying a lot more and then have a change for the worse in our financial situation.
Yeah. You're one of the guys on the Doge team, and they're getting
That's
a lot
right.
of blowback.
Yeah, and like all we've ever done is try to serve our country. Yeah, I love that clip of him on Fox News. Like, I see all these Tesla places burning, and I just can't figure out why that's happening to you. Yeah, I don't understand it either. All I try to do is help America.
I don't know.
I don't know. Hey, it's not about the Teslas. Anyways,
People liked those.
anyway, um, you know, because we're in a disagreement. Maybe a stand-up comedian from the '70s would be like, "Oh, we're gonna compromise and keep living here," but I take it as a challenge
Mm-hmm.
of, well, clearly what I need to do is just find the best apartment that she doesn't even know is out there.
Yeah.
And then
Check it out.
it will be able to move.
Yeah.
Um and so she and I both actually found this one separately and we're both like, what about this one? And
Hey, good sign.
it was in Sherman Oaks. And we went out there. I went out there a couple days beforehand just because we still weren't living here full time, so I had to pass Sherman Oaks anyway on the way to get back here to do more cleaning. So I just stopped over there to kind of check out where that apartment was located, and I was like, I think I'm gonna love it here.
It's a cool
There's
neighborhood.
there's not a Togo's nearby, but there is an
Fuck it.
Ike's Lovin' Sandwiches that would have been walking distance from that apartment, and I was like, this, I think I'm gonna like it here.
Yeah.
And we eventually get in contact with the people who made the listing. It's a 2 bedroom located above like a beauty salon. So it's not part of
Hmm.
an apartment building. Um, but we get in contact with the guy. We're like, "Hey, we'd love to schedule a tour." And the guy is like, "I don't schedule the tours. You got to contact this other person."
I
And we're
hate
like, "All
that.
right." We
It's
contact this
like,
other person.
but can't you also like help because you are
Right.
involved on that side of things?
Yes, your contact information is here. What do you want from me? But he's like, contact this other person. I contact this other person. Hey, we'd love to schedule a tour. And they're like, how about this day at this time? And I was like, great, we will be there. That day comes around, that time comes around, we're driving over. I get a text from a now third person who works for this management company that's like, hey, just checking, you're going to be there, right? I was like, yeah, we'll be there. He says, okay. Um, we get there. We're walking around the neighborhood a little bit. We're like, this neighborhood's great. There's a little bit of, street noise from the busier street Ventura Boulevard in Sherman Oaks. There's a
Yeah.
lot of traffic on there. Well, we'll have to make sure that there's not too much traffic noise in the bedrooms, whatever. We get there. We go up to the unit. The guy shows up. He opens up the unit, and the first thing he says as soon as he unlocks the door, he's like, "Hey, sorry, it's a little dirty in here." There's just like a bunch of dirt and dust all over the floors. We walk in there. There are a couple other people touring it at the same time as us.
I've had this happen as well. I find that
Uh,
uncomfortable.
I don't enjoy that at all. One guy's on FaceTime with his wife, and like loudly doing a tour through the thing, and I'm like, should I be out of his way? But like, why should I worry about if I'm in his way or not? But we're kind of walking through there. I open one of the closets. There's just like a big tarp, like wadded up in the on the floor in there. I go into the kitchen, this beautiful kitchen in the photos, and inside, it's like, why is the stove off center from the thing? I try to open the cabinets, and they're a little sticky. Clearly got the landlord special, I think, of like, just paint over everything, and then the paint kind
Yes,
of
that was
settles
my
in there.
last place. Everything was painted over. I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I see a major problem behind that paint.
Yes, exactly. I mean, even here, like the after the fires, the property manager had to change out the carbon monoxide
Mhm.
detector. And first, when I showed him the carbon monoxide detector, he was like, "Yeah, you can either throw this out or see if the Smithsonian wants it because like this is so old." But he's been very frustrated with like because he's just like the local contact out here for the people that own the building in another state. And so he's been vented some frustration to me about
Yeah.
things that they've done to cover up before he got hired. Um, but when he was changing it out, he was like, "Oh, of course, they like painted over the screws to like secure the carbon monoxide thing to the wall." But anyway, in the kitchen, the cabinets are all kind of sticky. There's in one of the cabinets, I open it, and from the back wall, there's just like 2.5 inches of screw like poking out, the sharp end poking out directly at you. Um, I open the fridge, and the fridge, like to open it, you have to hold the freezer to like open the fridge. And then you open the freezer, and the shelf in there is like was originally white and is now like rust brown. It was
Ooh,
just all sorts of like this isn't what the photos looked like because the
no.
photos looked like a clean place to live. Um, and so I was like, okay, we've made a list before we got there of some of the questions we wanted to ask. And so the guy that's there, I'm like, hey, what about it says it comes with one parking space, and there's you can get a second parking space for another fee. Like, do you know which one down here in this small area it would be? And he was like, no, you'd have to contact one of the other two people you talked to before. And it became very clear that like this guy did not know anything,
Yeah.
and it was only like you would have to go through a lot of hoops to get anything kind of figured out with any of these management companies. There was a little like outdoor
It's a bad
patio
sign.
that looked really nice in the photos, and you get up there. First of all, it's like an 18-inch step up from the like ground to get onto this like patio.
Okay.
But you get up there, and there are like a bunch of tiles like just loose and up out of their place. I don't know. It just felt like a lot of different red flags, but it was very heartbreaking because I fell in
Yeah.
love with the idea of living there in the neighborhood and in the version of the apartment I saw in the photos. It was brutal
It does. It feels
to
like why
have
would
that
you
pulled out from under
why
me.
would you do this to us? Why
Yes.
have the listing that way? In what world is someone going to show up and go like, "Oh no, yeah, this is what I had in mind."
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Wasting people's time.
Yeah, exactly. And we haven't toured anything since. But that's also because there have been like very few appealing options, both
Yeah.
in price and in quality. So it's just been a real bummer to have that heartbreak There have been a couple nice places I've seen too, because this I hadn't ever thought about this until we toured that place, and it was such a like odd game of telephone to get anything done or answered.
Yeah.
But now when I see something listed, I see if the management company has any reviews out there.
Smart.
And there's some rough ones. There was one near Dodger Stadium that I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool if we lived there.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it'd probably be a nightmare to live over there because of all the
Could be.
traffic for the stadium. But
Get a lot of fireworks.
yeah, but you know, it looked great, and the building itself like overlooks the skyline and all this stuff. I was like, this might be pretty
Sick.
cool. Um, but then I go look up the management company, because it at a certain point it also sometimes feels like this is too good to be true, right? This isn't
Yeah.
within my budget. And someone had been like, I haven't even moved in yet and I already want to move out because you know, they said that they would clean. Basically, it was a similar situation where they went in, the place was kind of dirty, but they were like, don't worry, we're going to clean it before you move in. And then move-in day comes and they show up and they're like, I don't think this was cleaned at all. But the management company is like, no, we cleaned it. And then there are all these photos of like just how filthy it looks.
How much? God.
So yeah, there's just a lot of, I mean, it's been no secret that there are a lot of like shady landlords and management companies and all that stuff, but it is discouraging as you try to look for a
Yeah.
new place to see all the problems.
I just don't. There is an ego side of it that, like, everything that comes up in my life, I go like, I could do that. And there's something to like owning some property and like make some extra money renting it out. It doesn't feel like I get the difficulties in being a landlord.
Sure.
It doesn't feel like it would be devastating to just be a pretty decent landlord. Like, I think I could
I
crush
agree with you.
doing that, and I have zero experience in it. So maybe I'm wrong, but like, I don't know. People really have to go out of their way to suck as bad as they do sometimes. It's impressive.
Yeah, it is. There was a place that we toured before we moved into this place. It was in North Hollywood, and I don't know if you've had this experience, but we went to look at it because it was pretty close to where we were both working at the time.
Mhm.
And we went there, and the neighborhood just felt something felt off. Like it was like a Twilight Zone kind of. I feel like we're being watched as we like walk
Weird.
from where we had to park to where this unit is.
It's like
And
me
you go
walking
into
my
the
dog
unit.
out here.
Yeah,
They're always
you
watching.
you go into the unit and they are like actively like cleaning and redoing it, but it's because like, oh yeah, the last person who was here like wrote a bunch of shit on the mirrors in permanent marker and like there's a hole in the wall. Like somebody had a mental break in here, but we'll get that all cleaned up for you, okay?
Nice. It's tough because this normally comes up after you've like signed the deal,
Right.
and you kind of just learn through experience that like their willingness to actually clean the place is a big fucking red flag. And in my last apartment, when we checked it out, it reeked of smoke, like clearly. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like non-smoking building. And I asked about it, and they're like, no smoker ever lived here. I don't know what you could be thinking. And I'm like, then the people you've had coming in to paint over stuff have been smoking? I don't know. It reeks of
Yeah.
smoke. And I, blindly just followed their word. Like, oh yeah, no, yeah, we'll clean the carpets and the walls. It'll be taken care of. And the next time I went to check it out, it was perfect. So I guess you never know. But Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our management company here in this place is like mostly pretty good. Um, I maybe don't fully agree with how they handled some of the the fire stuff, but for the
Yeah.
most part, they've been pretty good and responsive to us. Is the big thing, and it seems like that's very rare for
It
most
is.
apartment dwellers. But you
No.
mentioned your ego,
I got one.
and I think part of why, especially now, I mean, this only came to light last week, I think. Um, and hey, there'll be more to discuss. I can't believe we spent so much time talking about how much nonsense schlock happened in the pilot episode of 911, and forgot to fill you in on some of this other off mic drama. But uh, my brother and his now fiance. Well,
Congratulations.
this is part of the family drama that I'll tell you about later. But um, it came out that they purchased a house,
Oh,
and
what
granted,
came out in the
it's in
trades?
yeah, or deadline.com said that my younger brother bought a house. Now, granted, it's in the middle of nowhere. So that's maybe why it's a little more affordable.
Yeah.
Also, their interest rates are pretty good for the first 3 years or so. But I think that if I think they're in for maybe a rude awakening after those 3 years. I don't
Oh
know.
no.
But anyway, they bought a 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom house. And
Nice.
I don't know. That feels like that. I think that my ego as the older sibling is like, hey, come on, man. I want a house. Yeah, wait your turn.
You don't think I want a house?
Yeah.
I get that. I'm the only non-homeowner in my family.
Yeah.
So my younger sibling also owns a large and very nice house. My older sibling does too.
Doesn't
And
that
I podcast
seem.
out of an A-frame attic that I'm
Yeah.
renting.
Yeah. Doesn't that seem messed up?
Yeah. But this is, I don't know. We chose to have these bullshit creative interests that led us nowhere.
Yeah. It's true.
But you've got a cool DVD collection.
I sure do.
let's keep positive.
Yeah.
Look at all these guitars I've got.
Yeah.
Good rad. I only got one other thing I wanted to bring up that popped into my head as you were talking, because I was saying beforehand, like, I've got things to talk about, but I feel like I've told these stories before. Guess what? I haven't had to tell any of those stories, so that's nice. I'm not repeating myself. But I've had this experience. Maybe this is repeating myself, so I shouldn't have said anything. But I've had this experience like the last few times I've been looking for apartments. It's come up once each apartment hunt, which is setting up a viewing, getting there, nobody being there, texting or calling or trying to contact the person, and them just being like, "Oh yeah, no, it's open.
Oh.
Just go take a look."
I
I
have
don't like
not
that.
had that happen, but I have seen um I have seen some listings that are like, when you contact us, we'll just leave it open for you
Not a
when we
fan.
schedule whatever that is. Yeah, I don't like that either.
Not if I open the door and there's people in there. I'm like,
Right.
are you looking at this apartment or are you squatting?
Squatting. Yeah.
I don't know. But just I don't know. Even though I never like having, it's like I'm not. pro having the person there like, oh yeah, it's really good because they have the answers to all my questions.
Yeah,
but it's just like,
clearly they don't.
They don't, but it makes sense to have someone there to finish that conversation off of,
Yes.
yeah, I think we're really interested, or nah, we're going to go another way, or whatever. Like, it's weird to just walk into an empty place. And both of the times it was that situation, like, no, yeah, just walk in. Dirty as hell. Like,
Of course.
Just tarps all over the place, like they were in the middle of painting or whatever. Just like, again, maybe I'm destined to be a landlord someday. But I'm just like, I can't imagine, no matter what the situation is, and I know there's a situation that this would blow up in my face, but I can't imagine, like, I'm really desperate to get this rented as soon as possible. So soon that I'm not going to let them finish painting it, and I'm not going to clean it.
Yeah.
And thinking that's going to be worth it to have people look at this fucked up, dirty apartment.
Exactly.
Like, just finish the fucking work. Or go there and paint it yourself. Like, get off your ass.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. Maybe you and I should
Maybe that's it.
just start up a management company.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a foolproof business plan.
Yeah, we need a little bit of startup.
Yeah, let's go on Shark Tank.
Okay. we just want to buy buildings. Can we have money?
Yeah, that's our business idea.
Yeah.
We want to buy buildings and we don't want to do any work. And then all the sharks will be like, okay.
We get this.
We get this.
You're being really upfront with us, and we like that.
Yeah, Mark Cuban will be like, I'm out. And we'll be like, I respect that because you're known as like the shark who might actually be a good person. But the rest of you, Barbara, Mr. Wonderful, I can tell you're in.
Yeah. Come and get some. I met one of them once.
Who'd you meet?
Draymond John.
Oh, sure.
Shot an interview with him. Seemed like moderately nice guy, as far as I could tell.
When you call him Draymond, you that's just because you guys are such good friends. He lets you add an R to his name.
Isn't his name Draymond? Is it Damon?
It's Damon.
I mean, everybody loves Draymond.
That's true. That must be why. It reflects on his popularity.
I'm such good friends with him that he lets me add an R to his name, because that's a meter for friendship, like I do with you, because your real name is Kiss.
That's true. Rock and roll all night. Anyway.
Yes.
Revan, what?
Revan.
What are we? What else you want to say? Or you want to get into this friggin' quiz?
I think we got to get into this friggin' quiz. We need some knowledge dropped on us.
We do need some knowledge dropped on us because I promise you, listeners, we will not be dropping the knowledge onto you.
But hey, if you're out there looking for an apartment, I think that's something to learn. Like, really take it to heart. Like, is this management company actually able to just clean this place before letting me see it? Because if they're not, it's a big red flag.
Yeah.
Not saying it's a hard no, but take it into consideration.
Yeah, you got to be aware of some of this stuff.
Yeah. And if you are looking, good luck to you. But if you're looking for more of this podcast to listen to, that's easy. We go to westsiderentals.com.
Yep,
Sign
pay
up
some
for
money.
a subscription fee, which is outrageously expensive.
And then you can see all the podcasts that every other place gives you for free.
But you can find us anywhere. I mean, we're HowDoWeHuman. All the links to everything. The easy way to get there is HowDoWeHuman.com. But yeah, we're on Spotify, Amazon, all those evil companies we hate. We're making that money. I wish.
We're not.
I'd love to make some evil money. We should.
Yeah, me too. That's why I'm part of the
pitch.
Doge Corporation.
You can follow us on social, get your information about us and about us.
Yeah,
Yeah, learn about us.
learn about us.
We're on Instagram, HowDoWeHuman, at HowDoWeHuman. We're
You got
full
it.
of YouTube episodes at HowDoWeHuman. We're on Facebook at HowDoWeHuman, and you can email us at howdowehumanpod@gmail.com. Got it out. That was rough though.
You did it though, and
I made it.
that's what matters. Evan,
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember, but as we go into this quiz, this is most likely going to be a milestone achievement
Oh boy.
for you because you are 1 point away from hitting 50 points.
It was brutal to not hit that last week.
The halfway point in our race to 100 points. The score is you have a sizable lead over me now.
Good.
As I fell away last week.
Good.
49 to 46.
Love it.
So still within striking distance, but it's an uphill battle for me. How are you feeling going into these 5 questions?
I feel like I'm gonna know them all.
I hope
with
not.
Confidence.
Question number 1. Reverse Polish notation or Polish notation, I'm not sure which one it could be, is commonly used in which of the following fields of study? Mathematics, linguistics, music theory, or cartography?
I've got a first guess, and I think I want to stick with it, but I have no clue.
Yeah,
Commonly used.
I'm between 2, and one of them I just don't understand what the notation could look like in this scenario.
I think I am changing my answer.
I might have an answer, and I'm going to be real mad because I know it's going to be the one I just moved away from. But I have my answer locked in.
I'm locking in cartography.
That's what I'm locking in as well.
All right.
I moved away. I don't know about you. I moved away from linguistics.
I moved away from music theory.
Okay, now we know that the answer is going to be mathematics. But here we go. It was mathematics.
I was like, notation, that should be music theory. But then I'm like, I know a decent amount of music theory. I feel like I would have, if it's commonly used, I would have heard of this once. What country is home to a historical marker that reads, on this spot, Ferdinand Magellan died? Philippines, Norway, El Salvador, or Ghana?
Wow. I truly do not know.
No.
I also have a shot in the dark, and he certainly died in one of these 4 places.
That's for sure.
You must agree that's that's the case. I have my answer.
Same.
And this is a complete shot in the dark. I would not be surprised if it's any of these. My answer is El Salvador.
Oof, I hate that. That's my other answer, but my answer is the Philippines. Good luck to you.
Well, the Philippines was my other answer, so it's the Philippines. You have now hit 50 points, Evan.
Yay! Drop the confetti.
Question number 3. What does the 150 meter high and 93 meter wide building unveiled in Dubai in early 2018 depict? A sailboat, a crescent moon, a picture frame, or a 2-humped camel?
I do not know.
I have absolutely no idea.
God, a building. What does the building depicts? I'm gonna say crescent moon.
That's also where I'm leaning. And I think I'm going to stay with it. My other guess, just for shits and giggles, my other guess is Picture Frame.
All right.
It was Picture Frame.
Ambergris, a waxy substance. Good Lord, starting
Sorry.
over. Ambergris. I can't just pick a way to say that. Ambergris, a waxy substance that was once used in making perfume, comes from what animal? Yak, llama, sperm whale, or crocodile?
I have my answer. It's locked in.
I don't like that. I'm going to say yak.
I'm saying sperm whale.
Mm.
It was sperm whale. Oh, I love it when I know one.
Hooray!
It's so rare nowadays. What people conquered Russia in the 13th century and established an empire known as the Golden Horde? The Ottomans, the Mongols, the Vandals, or the Huns?
Fuck. Conquered Russia in the 13th century. The Golden Horde. I don't know.
I
But
also
the numbers,
don't know.
I'm going to go with the Mongols. They did a lot of conquering.
Yeah. I'm between them and the Huns.
Yeah.
And I'm just not sure which way I'm going to land yet. Because I agree, the Mongols did a lot of conquering. I mean, the Ottomans certainly had their empire.
No slouch.
No slouch. I have not heard of the Vandals, which obviously means they're the correct answer. But
Yes.
I'm still between the Mongols and the Huns, and it's a question of how much do I let the Disney movie Mulan feature in my decision making?
Right.
Because the
Let's
Huns,
get down to business.
let's get down to business to choose the Huns or the Mongols. Because
listen to your
my Severance,
Listen to
a
your
show
inner
I've never
Donny
watched.
Osmond.
Much like MTV Cribs, Severance is a show I've never watched.
They've got a lot in common.
They do. Man, it doesn't. Here's the problem, right? You and I so far are tied for today.
Yes.
Now we can both get it wrong, and the answer will be Vandals, and then it won't matter. But if the answer is between Huns and Mongols, and I go with Huns,
Yeah.
then your lead gets even greater over me. If I stick with Mongols and it's wrong, then hey, no harm, no foul.
True. Or just be bold and go for Vandals.
Yeah, that's too bold for me. I am still between those two, and I know that this is like incredibly boring to listen to as I try to figure out what I'm going to answer. Okay. Here's my logic, and it's not sound, but it feels like if the Huns were established as an empire known as the Golden Horde, something in that would have played into Mulan. I know Mulan's not an exactly historical accurate piece of work, but you would think that the Huns would be referred to as the Golden Horde in that movie, right?
Yeah. Maybe once.
Although I feel like also maybe they are referred to as a horde, just not a golden horde. I'm going to go with Mongols. I'm going to stick with you on Mongols. Historically, we know that they conquered enough places.
Yeah.
So here we go. We're both answering Mongols, which of course means the answer is either Vandals or Huns. Let's find out. That was Mongols! Okay.
All
That
right, all
means
right, all right.
we are both tied still, although you
51.
have crossed the 50-point barrier. We did both receive 2 points, which brings the score myself having 48 points and Evan now at 51.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Well, to that I say, let's get down to business as we say goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.